earnings season now really kicks off with the large banks. So I've put a whole bunch of them into one video here so you can see who has the best track record, what do the charts look like, and which ones should you be watching, or maybe all of them. So let's get right into it with the first of the big banks here. First one is Wells Fargo. Now this is probably the most troubled out of all of them that are opening up earnings season. As you can see, it's coming off a miss last quarter and the shares have been real volatile. You'll see in a moment, but this chart doesn't look anything like the other large banks, and for various reasons, as most of you know, with their PR issues, problems with management, and we're going to see what they say this quarter. But, you know, maybe this is one of the big banks you should be keeping an eye on just because this big sell-off here in 2018. But this is definitely one I'm going to be tuning in. And then we're going to get one of the big regional banks. PNC, I like them. They're in Pennsylvania. And you can see just that one miss there in 2016. Otherwise, they were off to the races as soon as the election. We saw this with a lot of the banks there in late 2016 is when they took off. They've been on a tear, but as I said, is this too hot to handle now? Are some of these big regional banks gone a little bit too far, too fast? We've had a little weakness here in 2018. We'll see what they say. We're going to be watching the loan growth. I'm going to be watching the mortgages, especially with a lot of these big regional banks, but this is definitely one, if you're interested in the regional side, you should be watching. Then we're going to get JP Morgan. We've already kind of heard from Jamie Dimon recently, but it's always interesting to see what they actually report. They've got a great track record since 2016. All those other red arrows are a couple years ago now, but again, a super hot chart. And we got a little bit of sell-off here in 2018. Maybe this might be a buying opportunity here. Then we're going to get Citigroup. This was one of the banks that was considered down on its luck, but it's had one of the biggest rebounds. Also got the sell-off here in 2018. Feel like this is a real buying opportunity for some of these big banks because it's not all doom and gloom as you might think. Great track record again, last miss in early 2015. So this is another one you got to be watching. And then to start next week, we're going to get Bank of America. Again, this chart looks very similar to the other ones. You can almost superimpose all these charts on top of each other. But this one, too, a great track record. Last miss in 2016 there. And this one, too, had this slight pullback here in 2018. But we'll see if these shares can go lower, if they're going to be a little more attractive, or if we're going to get a bounce here during this earnings season. Now, the banks are the place to be, everyone thought, in 2017 as the Fed started to raise those interest rates. And many people think that's true in 2018, too. But as you can see from these charts, it looks like some investors are starting to crack a little bit and getting a little bit of jitters about what might go on with the banks. So as an investor, this might be a buying opportunity. Keep your eyes on all of these big major banks. And I'll be watching the regionals too. As I said, PNC is in this group, but there's other regional banks you might want to keep an eye on that I'll be covering over the next couple of weeks because we're going to get a lot of the banks here coming up. So you'll see a lot of these names. Be sure to tune in on Zacks.com. Also, you can find these videos on YouTube, on the Zacks homepage on YouTube, and I'll be bringing you all the charts, all earnings season. Be sure to tune in.